So in one of my other videos, which I made today, we made a smoky tomato sauce which included mushrooms, red peppers, smoked paprika, kale and basil. And that is the huge pot. Now I'm going to divide this up and I'm going to use it in a few different dishes. So I'm going to take some of this out, cool it down and freeze it, and use part of it for the lasagna. For the lasagna you need lasagna sheets. I'm using 5% steak mince because it was on offer. And for the white sauce, some of you have seen me make a minty white sauce before. This sauce is pretty much the same without the mint, with some grated cheese in, butter, plain flour, and about a pint of, we're using local Welsh milk and local Welsh butter. We try and support locally where we can. So I'm going to start off with the white sauce, and this is how I do it. I'm not Italian, I am not a chef.
Ciao Bella.
Yeah, this is how I make it at home. It's probably not the right thing to do, but it generally turns out okay. And
you're selling it now, aren't you?
yeah. And we like it, and I'm just doing what we do just to sort of give people an idea of sort of a realistic family kitchen meal. So I will take you over to the hob to do the sauce. So I've heated half a pack of butter. Now when you're doing this sauce, make sure, from experience I can tell you, make sure you've got your milk, your flour, cheese, salt and pepper and everything handy, because you have to move pretty quickly with this. So what you do first of all is you put in your flour. Now you have to do this by eye really, and I need quite a bit of sauce, so this has got to stretch. So I need to, I've got it in a non-stick little pan, and you want to stir it in fairly quickly, getting rid of the lumps. Now the flour, for those of you that don't know, is what thickens your sauce. So I'm going to put a bit more flour in. I know this isn't very technical. That's probably the maximum I can put in with the amount of butter I've got in, and you can see it thickening there. Now you can't add flour after the milk, so that's why you want it to almost be like a thick custard. You see that? Now I'm going to add my cheese now, so that melts down.
I think more cheese.
Dad would always have more cheese in everything.
Oh, you can never have enough cheese.
Okay, now this is where we're going to have to move. So you don't want to tip all your milk in. Now I've got a pint here because I'm not sure how much it's going to take, and you can see it sort of gobbles it up really quickly. So we need to move.
I think you're confusing litres with pints because you...
No, I've got 1 pint there. I know what I'm doing, to a point. So there we are. You can see, now if you stop stirring at this point, you can see how easily it could get lumpy. I think I've said on previous things I have been known to strain this before now because I didn't want to waste it. And if that happens, it doesn't matter. I've noticed I don't like watching these videos, but I've got quite a few things. I say so a lot. Doesn't matter. It comes out a lot. Which is generally the saying for the whole family.
And we like taste.
And we like taste. Yes, so I can't help it. Like I say, none of this is, believe it or not, none of this is scripted, as you can tell. So we'll see if we've got enough milk in there. And the milk can vary, so depending on the flour, because some flours, same with pastry, sometimes they take a little bit more water, others won't. Now I know you can buy this in a jar, of course you can, but it has an odd taste, I feel. So, but don't worry if you've got to use a jar.
If you were on a budget, how much would you say this is costing you to make?
Oh, do you know, sometimes you come out with the most ridiculous things. I don't know, I can't. How much would you say? I'd try and cost it. I probably won't. Now you can see now the heat's going up. We need to add a bit more milk. I don't know if you can. Are you watching what I'm doing, or are you just looking out the window? Got to boss this man around here. So it's going to take. Now, if you let this go cool for whatever reason, and it goes quite thick and lumpy, all you have to do is reheat it and gently add a bit more milk. Because if it's gone quite thick and stiff, it just means it needs a bit, or a little bit of hot water, very gently in, like you did before. Now, some people like a bit of grated nutmeg in this. That is a really, it's the same thing you put into
Christmassy sort of thing, isn't it?
Rice pudding. I'm going to put the very, you can see I put it on the very small little gratey thing. It gives it a nice taste, but it's very much a love or hate thing. So I'm putting it in, but you really don't have to put it in. And a lot of people haven't got it. I've just found it not long ago and I thought, oh, that'd be nice. More milk. So that's we're up to nearly a pint now. And I need this much because I'm doing a big family lasagna. So it sort of needs to stretch. There we are. So in this, half a pack of butter, which I think, are they 250 grams? Are they butter?
Let's have a look. I'll tell you now.
And
yes, 250 grams.
yeah, flour, which I know some of you are finding hard to get at the moment. We're okay in Wales, but we can't get bread flour because I wanted to do a pizza to show you how it could be used on a pizza, but we're still not able to get bread flour.
Well, there was no flour in Lidl's today, but it was there. There was loads of it the last time we went shopping.
Maybe everyone's home baking. They're all out there doing their thing. We laughed actually earlier because it said there's a lot of people putting in the lockdown, putting annoying videos on and thinking they've got skill. And I thought, oh, that's us.
We're annoying people.
But I started doing, like I say, I started doing this for. We started doing this for our son because we were writing recipes out for him. And because teenagers of today are very visual, they don't want to sit and look at a book. In fact, he probably doesn't even want to look at us, to be honest. But one day he might think, God, how did Mum make that delicious smoky paprika lasagna? And it will be here for him, waiting. He'll probably just download it into his head at that point when he needs this, when he's 40 or something. They won't even have
hands.
Whatever, yeah. So I think we can see a few lumps in there. But that, yeah, more than a few actually. That is the consistency you want. Okay, I'm going to have a little taste. Sorry if these videos are driving you nuts, but like I say, you don't have to watch.
Oh, it's Friday today, isn't it?
Oh my God, Tav, you just realised it's Friday.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute, we'll just get back to this. I'm going to take you over and start our lasagna. So normally if I was cooking lasagna sauce, like a mince lasagna sauce, I would do my oil, onions and herbs, then I would put in my mince. Now because I've made a big sauce and I'm like retro doing it, I've actually halved my sauce, so there's 8 ladles of sauce in there for other meals, and I've kept, because this bowl container's quite big, I've kept half, which is about 8, let me find the ladle so you can see, 8 big ladles back. This mince, I think it's 380 grams, is it there?
According to the pack.
Oh, I need a wooden spoon. Can you see if you can find one? We're going through them like nobody's business. 5% mince in. Now, the reason that's got brown bits in, because I've got this out of the freezer and it needed a little bit of defrosting, and we took our eye off the ball. If you do that, it would just turn into one massive clump. I find it is better to use non-frozen mince for this, because can you see those little lumps? But we've got to go with what we got, haven't we? And this is what we've got. And with Dad's big revelation a minute ago, oh my God, it's Friday. It completely threw me. So what we're going to do is, well, this is what I was talking about, this pan. Normally with another pan, it would crisp it up really, you know, not crisp it up, but you get some nice browning by now. This is almost like broil stuff. but it's big enough for you to see what's going on. Okay, so you want to get a little bit of colour to this if you can, because that's what gives it the extra bit of taste. Now you can use 10% mince in this, but remember, that sometimes gives you heartburn, but fat gives taste, so it's completely up to you. And I know it seems better value as well. These were like 3 packs for £8, so it wasn't. It was a good deal, so I just picked it up. There we are. So I don't know how long it's going to take to go brown. But this is actually, we're okay, because remember this gets cooked in the oven. I've got the oven on 108, let me have a look, say 170 fan oven. So you want it to sort of get a bit of colour, which this is just taking its time doing. You can just hear this starting to crackle now, which means that it's browning a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to add my 8 ladles of paprika pepper sauce, and it's quite a sweet sauce. Now, when we went to Italy in October, we don't go very far. Obviously, we didn't have lasagna out there. I think it's more of a sort of...
It's northern Italian, isn't it?
Yeah, but I noticed that anything they did have with mince had the smallest amount, and it had a lot of sauce. So it was almost like a nod. It didn't... I think here we tend to sort of... Well, I know a lot of people, it seems to be all mince, and so I'm going to try this with more sauce than mince and see how it comes out. It should still be packed with flavour. So lots of mushrooms in there, onions, there's a bit of kale in there, red peppers. Now you could add an oxo at this point if you felt it needed a little bit more taste. I think it's fine. I did have an oxo around here somewhere that's disappeared. I think we'll go as we are. Some people like to add a little bit of Worcester sauce, but because we've got lots of basil in this and the paprika, I think it will be very nice. Now that sauce was not from cold, it was hot because I recently made it for a little video, so it won't need much time at all. So I'm going to turn off the heat, and then I'm going to go over to the Middle Island unit and then start layering this up. Your lasagna dish. Before you do anything, check how many sheets it takes to go across the bottom. Now luckily this one takes 3. If it doesn't, if it's slightly smaller, snap that in half. So I'm just, now remember, this is the way I do it. There's probably lots of other ways of doing it. So first of all, I start with my sauce and mince. And this will soften. Now I always find when I do a lasagna, it's better cooked the next day because it softens all the pasta. But we're doing this today because
we're starving.
And we want to get an end result for the video so we can show you it served up. I'm sorry if the light's going. We started off, obviously we're in our own kitchen with all the halogens on and loads of lights on. We started off with a really bright day and it's gone dark. So I'm putting that in. Now I love a lot of layers and it fills everyone up. So I'm now going to, doesn't matter that there's a little bit of overlap. I'm going to put that in. And then I'm going to put, now this is the sauce I made earlier and it's still hot, so it's still quite, I'm going to go over there.
Ooh, look at that.
This is lovely, especially with that little bit of nutmeg in. Even if I do say so myself, Dav's not tried it yet.
It doesn't. I don't need much convincing, I hasten to add.
No. So do you remember how much those lasagna sheets were?
Oh, they weren't expensive. I think they were. I think it was £1 a box.
Now I wouldn't normally do this, but I'm going to actually. No, actually, There's no rhyme or reason to this. I'm just going to put that on there. If you get muddled up between layers, it doesn't matter. Like me, I lose where I am half the time. My brain's in other places. Now look at that colour. That's what I'm excited about. All that lovely taste and colour in there. Now we might, because the dish it's coming out a bit, what I'm going to do is just simply crack that like that. And that will do for our next one. So, where were we, Dav? Are you keeping... We don't know where we are.
No.
We're just going for it. So, all this gorgeous sauce. Now you can tell this is not a low-fat dish. But we only have this. You wouldn't know this to look at us, but we only have this once in a blue moon. It's Dav's favourite dinner, and you can serve this. The nice thing about this, you can do salad or with it or veg.
Or chips.
No, you don't want chips with this.
That's with a carb fest.
That's a bad move. Okay. I'm gonna make this my last layer, so I'm gonna make it quite generous, and we'll pop that. Sorry, blocking the camera. Ooh, make maximum mess. Got my other spoon over here. So make sure that goes all the way over. I'll give you the size of the dish later, and we can find the tape measure.
It's in the drawer.
It's in the drawer of doom. Now I noticed on another video, Davin keeps showing me them, think it's hilarious, because he says I look like the Muppet chef. I just seem to get more and more on my pinny, and every time I open my drawer, things like fall out. In fact, look at this old tape measure. Oh my god. Let's measure this now. So 13 inches by 9. So that's, ooh, burnt myself, 31 centimetres by 22 centimetres, and it is 2.5 inches deep, 6 centimetres deep. So because there's 3 of us, this will do 3 portions, good portions, and that would do another day as well. So
No!
making meals every... Now I'm going to put in... I love... You know when you have a lasagna and it's all... You open it up and it's got all the layers of pasta. That's... I'm going to put a little bit extra there, and then I'm going to go with that odd bit down the side, and then I'm going to just crack off this bit. There we are. Now you can see when this does, if you don't cook it the same day, all these hot sauces seem to just make this really nice. I did try and boil lasagna sheets once and they were stuck together in a massive clump, so that's not the way to go. So here we go. There you are. Davin's gone very quiet. So that's used that whole pan, very grotty looking, a non-stick pan of mine, and that's, so it just shows you it took that whole thing of sauce, because you don't want to skimp on these things. If you're gonna do it, make sure you do it and not be mean. You go through all the effort of all this, and it is quite a lot of effort, especially homemade. We do buy occasionally ready meal lasagnas. Oof, they're
Always
just not
disappointing.
Yeah, they're just not the same. But admittedly, not everyone has time to do all this. I've just got a bit of time at the moment.
Everyone's got nothing but time.
Yeah. Now, what I'm going to do, just to add a few more calories, because you know we need to add more calories. Hang on, bear with me. Is I'm going to put some cheese so it goes nice and brown on the top. Okay, that's mature cheddar, I'm going to put some black pepper on there. And that is our family lasagna ready to go in the oven. So this has now been in the oven for 40 minutes, and you want to be able to put your knife through it. Obviously these bits are different because they've gone quite crispy, but you want to make sure all your lasagna is cooked all the way through, which it is. Now all ovens vary differently, so you might take a bit longer, a bit less, but just keep an eye on it. If you want to brown this up a little bit more, you can always pop it under the grill, but just keep an eye on it. We love all these crispy bits, so we don't mind this, but you could do it for a little bit under the 40 minutes if your lasagna is cooked. So this is the lasagna served up. This could actually serve, I would say, between 6 and 8 depending on portion sizes. This is quite a big portion. You could replace mince with lentils. I was just thinking earlier. I might do one of those, sort of veggie lasagna. But for now, we're going to have this for our tea now. Just a little bit of garnish because it's packed with vegetables as it is. And we'll let you, we'll write comments when we post our video on what we gauge it as. So thank you for watching, and thank you for your patience because it was quite a long video.